Hey, welcome back to Programming with Paul. Today we are going to get into video 2 of our multi-part video series on creating an existing Angular application using AnalogJS. Part 1, I'll go ahead and post the link on the comments below, but it showed us bringing in an existing a brand new analog application into an existing NX monorepo. So what we're going to do to start this video is we're going to go ahead and take a look at our existing Angular application that I've published out to the web. So if I go here and I'll go to fantalytic.io, you can see here that we have just a pretty simple Angular application. It takes an RSS feed from ESPN and it parses it and it displays the different feeds into some cards where you can click on a link to actually view more of that story. So let's see how to create an analog application out of this screen. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is let's go ahead and take a look at the analog application that was brought into our monorepo. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and open up our terminal, and then I'm just going to type in nx serve fanalytic ssr because that's what we named our application. Once this builds, then we'll go ahead and we'll go straight to the site, have it load. And when it loads, you can see it says it has our boilerplate Angular AnalogJS application. So let's next take a look at our code for our existing Angular application. I'm going to switch my screens here so you can see the screen that I've got my code on. Okay, so here, this is our Fanalytic public, which is where our current application is. Let's go ahead and close all these other files. And what we'll do is let's open up our app config, which contains our routes. And you can see here we have a default route that redirects to topics. And inside of topics, we have our component that we load, as well as some NGRX modules that we load up. Just a quick note here, I'm going to kind of fly by a lot of the NGRX stuff. If you all want me to do a more in-depth video on NGRX, just leave a comment below and I'll be happy to do so. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go into this component. When we look at this component, you can see that we have a topics property, which is of type observable, of type topic array. And we have a selector to get those topics, as well as here is our selector here. And we also have our dispatching of our action. So when we look at our effects, so if we go to NGRX and go to effects and topics effects, you can see we have that action here. We filter for the RSS feed type ESPN, and then we call a service to get those topics. So when we go to this definition, you can see get topics calls our HTTP client to take that response, which comes back as XML, and we parse it to create our topic. And when we look at topic, the definition for it, it's coming from PMT Fanalytic shared. I'm going to create a new NX library called Fanalytic shared v2, and that's because when I originally created this shared library in my NX workspace, I didn't do it quite right, and in order for it to take changes, now we have to run a TypeScript compile command, and I don't want to go through that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into creating our NX library. All right, so let's go ahead and let's create our shared library for our monorepo that our AnalogJS app will use. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and open up a terminal. With this terminal, let's go ahead and run nxg for generate lib. It's going to ask us what kind of library we want to create. It's going to be just a JS library. We want to name it Fantaletic-shared-v2, none, and vt as our build system. So I went ahead and I named this v2 because originally when I first wrote the Angular app, I created a shared library, but I created it wrong, and we called it Fantaletic-shared, and the problem with it is that I have to do a TypeScript compile every time for it to be used. So this time we're using NX's CLI to create that library. So it's going to be instantaneous whenever we use that library from another library or an application in our monorepo. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our existing code. Let's see. I'm going to share my other screen here. So if I go here and share this screen, we can go ahead and open up our libs directory, and we can see Fantaletic shared v2, and we have our shared library here. All right, so first thing we're going to do is let us take the interface that we created in our original shared library. So if we go here and we go to lib and topics and models, we'll see our interface. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to just copy this entire thing, and I'm going to go ahead and go to our v2 library. We have a model topics. Let's go ahead and create a topics.interface.ts file, and then we'll just paste that guy right there. So the next thing we'll do is we're going to use this across our different libraries and different applications. So I'm going to put it as part of our contract so that is in our index.ts. What we want to do is we want to go ahead and I usually try to create just some kind of wrappers around it just to kind of keep my code segmented a little bit. But here I can do export from lib/models topic interface, and then this is going to be the topic, and this is going to be our, just create a region here and then call it topics functions and then end region like this. And so now what that lets us do is that just lets us collapse things. This one is region, topics, models. Okay. So this guy here, this is topics. This is called Fantaletic shared v2. I'm going to change the name to Fantaletic topic.functions.ts. Okay, and so what I'll do here is I'm going to take the existing business logic that we have to parse our ESPN RSS feed. I'm going to take that out of our ESPN RSS service in our previous application, and I'm going to put that business logic into this functions, into our functions file. And that way we can share this business logic across different libraries and applications within within our monorepo. The reason for this is a little bit of insider baseball here. We are going to create another application in our monorepo, which would be a native Ionic application that is pretty much doing the same thing as our AnalogJS app is doing. All right, so if we go to our let's take a look at our current application, or I should say our previous application, which was Fanalytic Public. So if we look here, let's look at our app config file, which has all of our routes. And inside of our routes, we have a default route that just redirects to topics. And inside of topics, you can see that we load our topics component, and then we import some NGRX modules, or we provide some of our NGRX modules. So just a quick note here, I am not going to go really too deep at all into NGRX, since that's not what this video is for. If you want a more detailed look at NGRX, feel free to comment below and I'll create a video for setting up NGRX and doing kind of the whole flow of NGRX. All right, so let's go ahead and go into our topics component. Now when we go into our topics component, you can see here we have an observable of type topics. Inside of there, our on init, we set that topics from our store selector, and we dispatch our action to load our topics of type ESPN RSS feed. So now if we look at our effects, we can see that one of our effects is to load our topics for ESPN. And here we just listen to our load topics action. We filter that stream with where the payload is a ESPN RSS feed. And then we call our ESPN RSS service to get topics. And then we just load up our topics so that our selector could use it. So let's take a look at what this get topics is doing. So here we have a URL where we get our topics from. We have our HTTP client, and then we're pretty much saying, okay, the response is going to be a text, and call our URL, and then parse our response so that we can create a shape of a topic like our model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this business logic that parses that response, and I am just going to copy it, and I'm going to go ahead and put it into our shared project inside of our function. So I'm going to change this function name to parse ESPN RSS feed. It's going to take a parameter of res, type any for now, and then it's going to return to us a topic, which is grabbing it from our models. It'll be a topic array, and then what we'll do is just delete that and then paste in what we had. It looks like we're using a function within our service, so I'm going to take that function and I'm just going to include that into this file. So if we go back to our ESPN RSS feed, I'm going to just take this entire function and copy it, and I'm going to put it right here, and I'm not going to expose this function out via my contract. It's going to be internal to this file only, and then we'll go ahead and remove this, and now there we go. Now we have the business logic that can be shared across libraries and different applications in our monorepo. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup. I'm going to remove this console log. I am also going to disable my my linting rule here, where I can't use any. And now TypeScript is no longer yelling at us. Let's go ahead and let's put this into our new AnalogJS application. Okay, so let me share my other screen again. So here we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring up our analog application that we created from the previous video. So nx serve fancylytic-ssr, and open this guy up. And now when we go here, we will see all of the boilerplate that was created when we brought in the AnalogJS into our monorepo. There we go. There's the boilerplate there. So let's go ahead and let us open up that AnalogJS application. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the code. And here, if we look at our different apps, scroll all the way to the top, we're going to look for fancylytic-ssr, which is here. And we open this up, and let's take a look at our pages. So AnalogJS uses file-based routing. So the convention is you put your different routes or pages into this pages directory, and the index.page.ts inside of pages is going to be your home page. So if I open this up, you can see all of the boilerplate code that exists for part of that boilerplate. So what I'll do is I'm just going to delete all of this stuff out. So if I take this and then I'm just going to delete everything in between the backticks. Okay, and let's go ahead and let's start building out our template. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, go back one maybe, and then we'll go ahead and first let's go ahead and let's bring in Angular material, and we're going to use the toolbar component. So I've already brought Angular material out into this workspace, this NX monorepo workspace. So I should be able to just import here mat toolbar module. And what we'll need to do is we'll need to import the Angular material styles into our AnalogJS application. So our AnalogJS application has this styles.css file. So if I open this up, you see it's got some of the Tailwind conventions here, so some of the things that Tailwind needs in order to style our app. And what we'll do is we'll do an import as well. Import URL, it's in our node modules folder. So up one directory, up two directories, and then here maybe up one more directory, and then here node modules, and then we have an @Angular /material/ I believe there is a indigo pink. Let's see which one it was. Let me actually take a look at our public application to see where that file lies. So our public application is a little bit different, where it actually exists inside of our project.json file. That project.json file, we have this styles in our ng build, and we know it's Angular material pre-built themes indigo pink CSS. So if I do this, Angular material / pre-built themes / indigo pink.css. Okay, and so now let's go ahead and let's go back to our index page. And then what we can do is let's go ahead and create that matte toolbar. Color is going to be primary. And then let's go ahead and just put fantalytic.io here. Save this guy. And then let me go ahead and share my screen again. So here, there we go. There is our toolbar. So one thing I don't like the white space around it. So the way around that is, what we can do here is let's wrap this inside of a header. Header here, and then we'll use some of the utility classes that Tailwind uses. We'll make this absolute, and then we'll make it top 0, left 0, and then I'm also going to remove any padding around it for now. There we go. And then save this. Let's take a look at what that comes up with. So here, oh, look at that. We also need to add the header as a width W-100 viewport width. And save, and let's see what we have now. Okay, that looks much better. It's all the way at the very top. All good, all good. Okay. So now, next thing we'll do is let's go ahead and take a look at our previous application as well. So fantalytic.io. Okay, we've got our header, we've got a search bar up top. We're not going to worry about that search for now. Right now, this app really doesn't do anything for the search anyway, so we'll leave that blank for now. But what we will do is first let's make sure that we can use that shared code that we put in our library to at least parse out our RSS feed. So let's go ahead and share my code. And here what I'll do, just to make sure that I'm able to use that shared file, is let's go ahead and let's just make a topics observable here. Topics observable of type observable topic, and then use it from v2. Okay, and then it'll be a topic array. And then for now, I'm going to inject our HTTP client directly into here. HTTP client equals inject HTTP client. And so with that, inside of this imports, I'm going to go ahead and import. Actually, let's provide it at the uppermost root. So let's go ahead and import these that we need. And then let's go to our app config folder, or I'm sorry, app config file. So here in our app config, we have a file router, we have client hydration. We're also going to provide HTTP client. Okay, so now we won't get a null in that not provided for our HTTP client, since we are providing it in this component. All right, so next, let's go ahead and implement an ng on init, implements on init, and then ng on init, void. Okay, I'm just going to scroll this up a little bit. All right. Enter. Just going to do enter, 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 and then scroll this down. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to say this dot topics equals HTTP client dot get this will be an any. And then we need to get that RSS feed. So here we'll have a just private read only, and then this will be an underscore RSS feed URL. And then let's grab that from our ESPN feed service, which is this guy. Then go back here, paste that in here, and then well, this will be underscore. Let's do this dot underscore. There we go. Dot pipe. So I'm using VS Code GitHub Copilot extension. That's why you see some of the very powerful IntelliSense that we're getting code completion. I've been using it for a couple months now, and I love it. It's a very, very helpful for less typing on my side. So, all right. So this is going to. So if you remember, we're expecting text back. So we needed to put that as part of our header options. So now we'll do a map resp. Let's just let that complete like that, and then add our imports. And then here we can call our method to parse ESPN RSS feed resp. Then we'll return this. Okay, so you can see here, if we scroll to the top, we have our things that we're importing from our shared library. And then we have our where we call it, and now we have our topics observable. So let me just go ahead and update my imports. And then here, let's go ahead and just create a div class. That's okay. Justify center, okay. We'll be ripping this code out. I just want to make sure that we can use our library to go ahead and get the responses from our ESPN feed. So if I do div pound ng4 equals let topic of topics $, pipe async, then I'll just do pipe async, close this guy, and let's just go ahead and just use the JSON pipe to make sure we have it. Topic pipe JSON. Okay, I need to add the JSON pipe as part of our imports. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's save this, and let's open up our app and see what we get here. Oh, look at this. So we have a title, we have a description, we have a publish date. So it looks like we are parsing it. So we're able to use our shared code from our library to parse the response into our topics interface. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and let's actually make it look like our current application. So let me go ahead and share my other screen again. All right. So let's see, how should we go about doing this? What I'll do is let's go ahead and create our NGRX store. So really quickly, I'm going to, inside of these pages, shared components. Okay, so here I'm going to add a folder and name it topics. I'm going to go ahead and add another folder and make this NGRX. inside of NGRX, I'm going to go ahead and create another folder, which is going to be actions. Inside of this actions file, this will be topics.actions.ts. And then here, let's do export const load topics equals create action. Then this will be topics load. This is going to have topics. Nope, that's not what I want. What I want is I want a RSS feed type of type RSS feed type. So look at this. This existed in my previous library, so I'm going to remove that and I'm going to put that into my actual library, my new version 2 library. So I'm going to go to definition. I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. So this is an enum. And then let's go ahead and open up our v2 source. We have our lib, we have our models, we have our topics. Inside of topics, I'm going to add a new file. I'm going to call it topics.enum.ts. And then let's go ahead and paste that here. And then we'll need to export this out as well. So here, this is a model, a type of model. So let's do export from .lib topics enum, perfect. And then this will be topic, oh, that's actually RSS feed type. Okay, so now we can go here and we can say inside of our actions, we can say this is not coming from shared, it's coming from shared v2. All right, so we have our actions. Let's go ahead and do our export const success action. So success, there we go. Topics, any, this is not going to be any, this is going to be a topic array from v2. Oops, gave us 2 arrays, there we go. Topics v2, and then we're going to do a failure, which is going to create this error is going to be any and error. Okay, looks good. Next thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and create our reducer file. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to go here and create a folder, and it's going to be called reducer. And inside of this reducer folder, we'll create a topics.reducer.ts. And then here we'll do export let's put this in, let's put the interface for our state inside of our shared library. So if we go back here, we'll collapse out our apps and then go to v2 models topics interface. So in this interface, oh, look at that, we've already got it. So let's go ahead and let's export this. I'm going to add here export topic state, and now in our reducer we can say const initial state of type topic state, and then we will make topics undefined, and then add our imports from v2, and now let's create our reducer. So export const topics reducer equals create reducer. Then this will be an initial state. This will be on load topics success, topic success, and then this is going to be state topics. Perfect, just like this. So things we need to import are on from NGRX store, and we need to import our store. There we go. Our create reducer from our NGRX store. All right. So now we have a load topic success. All good. All good. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create our effects folder. So here we'll go ahead and create effects and add a file. This file is going to be topics.effects.ts, and we can do export interface. I'm sorry, export, silly, export class topics effects, and then we'll add our things that we're injecting in, which would be actions equals inject actions from effects. We'll do private. We're going to want to inject our service. So let's create a service for our ESPN RSS feed. So if I go ahead and let's do this via CLI tool. So if we go ahead and open up our prompt, let's go here and let's do NGGS. Project is going to be Fantalytic-SSR, and then we're going to put this into our topics/services/ESPN-RSS-feed. That'll be our service. Let's see, Node.js 14 was detected. Let's go ahead and run nvm use this. There we go. And let's run that again. Sorry. This is, we're going to use, so I tried to use Angular's CLI where I should have been using NX's CLI. So let's try that again. NGG, it's a little bit different syntax. g@nx/angular, and then it's a service. Project is SSR, topics, there we go. And then enter. There we go. And now let's go ahead and switch screens. So on this screen we can see under topics we have now services with our ESPN RSS feed. So here is where we'll inject our HTTP client, private underscore HTTP client equals inject HTTP client, and then we'll get a get topics, which is going to give us an observable of type topic, and we're going to import this from v2. We're going to import this from RxJS, and we're going to import this from our Angular Common HTTP. And here we can just return this.http client .get. This is going to be an any. And then let's go ahead and bring in this RSS. We can take this and copy it or cut it. We don't need it here. I'm going to go ahead and delete that guy. Just some code cleanup here. I'm going to comment all this out. Actually, let's just delete it. We don't need. Okay, and then go to our ESPN feed service. We'll go ahead and paste that guy. And then this will be this dot RSS feed URL. We know that we need the header options. Dot pipe map. Import this guy. Oops. And then do return parse ESPN feed resp ESPN feed resp. Okay, there we go. We don't need this guy. And now let's take a look. V2, we've got our shared function, good to go. Our model, okay, good to go. So now we just need to call this from our effects. So if we go back to NGRX, effects, topics effect, we'll go ahead and call a load ESPN topics, and then this will be actually a create effect. I'm just gonna clean this up a little bit, and then the syntax for it, actions.pipe of type load topics. I don't like the way it did that. I'm going to do load topics from actions, okay. And then for now, so what I'm going to do is I am going to refactor this later, but for now we're just going to go ahead and every time we call load topics where we pass the payload in as a ESPN RSS feed type, we're going to make that HTTP call. We're not going to cache previous HTTP calls to ESPN, and that's because whenever we've only got one topics property inside of our store, so whenever we switch different RSS feeds, we want to go ahead and load the topics for ESPN or for the fantasy football RSS feed. Later, when I refactor it, I'll probably create 3 different keys in our state object, one for ESPN topics, and one for each of the other RSS feeds. But for now, we've got one key. We'll just call the HTTP call every time. All right. So then here, what we can do is we can do a switch map. And then this will be our action. Okay, and then we're going to return, let's see if this is correct, RSS feed get topics.pipe. We want to do a map. We want to do a catch error. Okay, .get topics.pipe topics load topic success is probably one that's not imported. Load topics failure is not imported. All right, so what are we getting here? Return load topic success topics. This looks good to me. Let's see why it's throwing an error. Load topics failure of type error. We don't need the curly braces around them, I believe. Let's take a look at that definition and what we expect from it. Yeah, error any. Okay. So here, and we don't need this. Okay. No topics. Let's see why we're getting this error still. Unknown. This should not be an unknown unless we haven't imported switch map. We've got actions.pipe catch order. It's weird that that's unknown action of type load topics. Do we have of type? We do. Load topics action. Let's do a filter here, by the way. Let's do a filter. Action goes into action.rss feed equals this. Okay. Let us see. I don't need this actually. Topics. It's very strange that it doesn't know what it is, but let's go ahead and be explicit about this. This is topic v2. Okay. What does it say now? Observable unknown is not observable to affect result action. This is an action. Let me see why this is happening. Create effect, fat arrow, dot pipe, of type, load topics, filter, action, dot RSS feed type equals ESPN, switch map, return this dot ESPN feed service. Oh, I didn't import ESPN feed service. All right, that's my bad. Private underscore ESPN RSS feed. There we go. And then import this guy. Now, why are we getting this error? Unknown is not assignable to action. This is an action. Let's see, return map. This is that pipe. Okay, let's see, I'm just gonna rewrite this and see if maybe VS Code's doing something weird. So here, let's do this dot ESPN feed service dot get topics dot pipe map topics goes into load topic success topics catch error. There we go. That was it. In the error, we didn't make it an array. That's what was the problem. Okay. So there we go. And now let's go ahead and create our selector. So if we go here and then add a folder, call this selectors, and then add a file to it, and we'll call it topics.selectors.ts. And then here we can do export const select topics state equals create feature selector topics. I'm going to put this into a const file. So const and then add topics.const.ts, and then we'll call this export const topics feature key state feature key equals topics, like that. That looks good. And then go to our selectors again, and instead of topics here, we'll just use that state key. We called it topics feature state key. Okay, and now we can do export const select topics state.topics. This is not like this. This is going to be a create selector. Will be like this, state create selector, and then it is select topic state. Alright, so let's see, this is unknown. We'll make sure we type this to topics state from v2. And now did I spell this wrong? Topics state. There we go. All right, so now we have our selector. So one of the last things to do is let's import this in our app config. So here I'm just gonna put these in different lines just to clean it up a little bit. All right, so we're importing this. We also want to provide our store. And then it's going to be the topics feature key, and then it's going to be the topics reducer. Make sure we import this guy. So let's see, what did I do here? Is it just the reducer? It looks like assignable to type reducer by to string. I guess it's just this. Okay, so it looks like it's just that. I thought I would have to put in my state key, but maybe I don't. Provide effects, and then this will be an array. And then we'll add our topics effects. Remove that state key from the import. And then we'll go into our index page. And then let's go ahead, and what we can do is I can even do this all inline. Like this, remove on init. We'll go ahead and import our store. Store, and then here what we can do is we can do equals this dot store dot select this dot store dot select topics. Okay, I can remove this. Just make this like this. And so just a quick note, I've heard some rumblings where doing something like this without doing your dependency injection like this with the inject method, I hear TypeScript breaks on this if you're doing something like constructor private underscore store. And the reason for this is TypeScript says, oh, wait a minute, you're trying to use store when store hasn't been instantiated. And that's because it's outside of the constructor context. But changing the way you do dependency injection into using the inject method, somehow TypeScript knows, oh, we've already done our constructor for our store, then store is now valid whenever we try to create this property. That's just something to note. I saw some things on Twitter talking about that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's save this, and then let me share my other screen, and we'll see if we broke anything. All right, so here it looks like, let's make sure it compiles. Everything's still compiling, good to go. Page reload. There we go. It's reloading back up. And a moment of truth. We broke something. Let's see what our inspect says. Let's bring this over here. Console cannot read properties undefined of topics with our selector. Okay, so I believe I am doing something wrong when I import this. I'm pretty sure I've got to tell it what my state key is. So let's look up NGRX documentation. And let's take a look here at our getting started. And then let's take a look at our walkthrough interface. This is how we create some stuff. Reducer. Let's see how we import it. Browser module, store module. That's it. I have to do a for root. That was my error. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's actually make this. Let's do a for feature. For root is going to be nothing, and then our for feature will be something else. Let's see. So this is main screen. So let's go back to our app config file. So when we look at this, I'm going to do provide store dot for root, provide store. I don't know how to do that from here, so let me look back at our documentation. Let's see. Let's look up standalone. Okay, I don't see anything. Well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's remove these out. And then we'll just do them through imports. So if I do this, I wonder if I can do imports. And then store module dot for root topics. It does not like that. So there is provide store. That works. Okay. All right. So I needed to provide the store like this. What I'm going to do is just to use that topics key to make sure all is good. We'll do topics, say feature key like this, and then we'll provide our effects again. All right. So let's save this and let's see if that fixes our problem. Okay. Let's inspect. It is done rebuilding. Okay. So it's got this components, Redux. We don't have. Let's go ahead and let's. Oh, you know what? I don't think I added it to my reducer. So let's do that. So if we go here and we look at our reducer, did we create it? We did. Load topic success, and then we created our topics. Okay, so we did do that. Let's go ahead and let's import our Redux tools. So here we'll go to app config, and then let's, I think we can do provide provide store dev tools, and then we can just not add anything here, save, and then let's go ahead and go back to our other screen. Just going to reload. Look look at our dev tools when it loads up. Okay, so topics, we didn't see, oh, silly, I never dispatched the action. So that would do it. Let's go ahead and go back to our main screen and go back into our page here, page.ts, and then do an implements on init, then call ng on init, this dot store dot dispatch, this dot store dot dispatch load topics, and then RSS feed type from v2.espn. Okay. Now let's save and let's take a look if that fixes the thing that we had. There we go. So fixes it now. We have our topics with all of our topics. All is good. Cool. So we went ahead and brought NGRX in, and we've got a way to use our library to parse out our response. And next thing to do will be to create the cards from that response. All right, so let's go ahead and create these cards. So if I go ahead and share my code again, here we go. What we'll do is let's go ahead and import. I'm going to remove JSON pipe because we don't need that guy anymore. And I'm going to remove this bit of code here. And instead, what we'll do is first remove all the unneeded imports. And then we're going to import our mat card module. Looks like it's not picking it up. So here, let's go ahead and do import from @angular /material /card. So now it should find our module. All right, so next thing we'll do is let's go ahead. I'm going to switch this into a section. And I'm going to do mat. Actually, let's throw it around a div. And then here in our class, we'll go ahead and make sure we have a margin of 2 all around. And then we want 3 cards going across. So let's go ahead and use W-30%. And here in our section, we're using flex, but we're not going to flex by column. We're just going to flex, and then we're also going to do a flex wrap. I don't think we need to justify anything for now. And then what we can do is mat card and mat card, and then here we're gonna do ng4 equals let topic of topics $pipe async, then mat header and card mat header. Here we'll have a title with the title. Then we'll have a mat card content, sounds good, and mat card see, did that end it already? Here, there we go. And mat card content, and inside of here we'll have our image. And then it'll be a mat card image. Source is going to be this, and we don't want this here. What we can do is set our alt as the topic.title. Title. And then we also want a div, which is going to be our description. Actually, let's make this an article. Article. All right, and then let's create our footer, which is our mat card actions. Mat card actions, and then this will be topic dot link. This will be an href equals let's make this target blank and and then this will be view more. All right, let's see what I broke. Close this guy out. Okay, let me see. Let's bring up this and see if we're building anything yet. Let's bring up our console and see. There we go. Oh, we got an error here. Oh, nope, that was before. We've got all this. Okay, it looks actually okay. So here, but it looks like we're not doing the flex correctly. So let's take a look and see why that is. If I go ahead and show my main screen again, let's take a look. So we have a flex wrap. We have a margin of 2. Let's remove this and put this inside of our div. I think that's our problem. Here. Let's save this and see what we got. Looks much better, but the heights are wrong. So let me fix the heights. I also want the view more on the right hand side. So let's fix that. All right, so for the height, let's make the card have a class h equals h full to go all the way up, and then in the actions, let's go ahead and say, let's wrap this in a span. Span. And span. And then let's go ahead and set a class to the span, and this class is going to be absolute positioning, and we'll do bottom dash 2 right dash 2. All right, let's see if this looks better. Okay, height is better. They're all the same height. View more is in the right spot. Okay, this looks much better. Now if I go to view more, it's going to open it up in a new screen. Good, all is good. Cool. Looks like that piece is done. All right, we're gonna call a wrap for this video. Today we went through and we created our first AnalogJS app, and our first screen, I should say. We took our existing application and we ported some code into an NX monorepo library so that we can share it across different applications and different libraries. We also saw how to import Angular material into our AnalogJS app. And we were able to use Tailwind to do some styling to make things look the way we wanted to on the screen. The next step would be to implement all of our other RSS feeds, and we can look at using some sort of object-oriented programming where we extend a class and are able to use existing code that can be shared across different classes as well. So hopefully you all will join me for that video. I'm looking forward to talking to you again. Happy coding.